The 6 universal tests you face before a breakthrough. A test that is to be expected is the test of stillness, when nothing moves forward. Before every true breakthrough, there is almost always a season of stillness. A season where the currents of your life feel frozen, where every effort you make seems to fall into silence, and where nothing moves as quickly as you wish it would. It is one of the most difficult and misunderstood tests, because to the human mind, stillness feels like failure. We are taught to always be in motion, to strive, to chase, to build, to create, and when life suddenly brings us to a halt, the ego cries out in frustration. It feels like doors are locked, paths are blocked, and progress is denied. But in truth, this stillness is not a punishment. It is a universal initiation. The reason for this test is simple, though not easy. The soul must learn to trust the unseen currents of destiny more than the restless urges of the mind. When you are in the test of stillness, life is teaching you to surrender your frantic energy, your endless pushing, your need to control the pace. It is as if the universe is saying, "Do you trust me when nothing moves? Can you believe in the seeds you've planted even when the soil looks barren?" This test comes just before a breakthrough because the stillness is where the deeper roots are being formed. Consider the winter landscape. On the surface, the trees look dead, the ground looks hard and lifeless. But beneath the soil, the roots are gathering strength. Energy is being stored. Life is preparing for the surge of spring. In the same way, when you are held in stillness, your soul is gathering its unseen resources. Mystics across cultures have written about this pause before transformation. In the Christian tradition, it is the dark night of the soul. In Buddhism, it is the still point of meditation, the place where nothing seems to happen but everything is subtly shifting. In alchemy, it is the Negretto stage, where matter dissolves before new life can be born. To the untrained eye, it looks like stagnation. But to the soul, it is gestation. This test forces you to confront your impatience. It exposes the parts of you that cling to control, that demand answers, that want to force life into shape. In the stillness, you meet your own restlessness face to face. And there is no distraction, no movement, no escape. Just silence and the echo of your own heart. The key to passing this test is surrender. Not passive waiting, but active trust. It means continuing to tend to your inner world, even when the outer world feels quiet. It means watering the soil of your life with faith, with daily practices, with gentle self-love, even when no sprouts appear. It means refusing to give up simply because the timing is not yours to dictate. Many give up here. They assume the stillness means the dream has died. They walk away, not realizing that they were standing on the edge of a breakthrough, and that the silence was simply the pause before the music began again. But if you endure, if you hold steady, the stillness begins to shift. One day, sometimes suddenly, sometimes so gently you barely notice, movement returns. The soil cracks open and the sprout emerges. The opportunity arrives, the synchronicities return, the path unfolds. And when it does, you understand why the stillness was necessary, because it shaped in you the patience, the depth, and the faith required to hold the blessing that was coming. The stillness tests you not to break you, but to deepen you. It strips away shallow striving and replaces it with quiet strength. And only then, only when you have passed through the silence, are you ready to move into the next stage of transformation. So if you find yourself in that place right now, where nothing moves and everything feels paused, know this. You are not forgotten. You are being tested, yes, but also prepared. The silence is not the absence of growth. It is the womb of growth. Trust it, and you will find that your breakthrough is nearer than you think. The test of letting go, releasing what you once clung to. Every soul on the path of transformation is asked, at some point, to release something, or someone, they thought they could never live without. It may be an old relationship, a place you once called home, a dream that no longer fits, or an identity that feels too familiar to set down. Whatever it is, this test arrives like a tide that pulls at everything you've been holding. The reason it is so painful is because the human heart is wired to cling. We cling to the known, even when it hurts us. We cling to comfort, even when it stifles us. We cling to dreams we once prayed for, even after our soul has outgrown them. And when life asks us to loosen our grip, we resist with all our might. Yet, every breakthrough requires a shedding. Just as a snake cannot step into new skin without first releasing the old, we cannot step into our next chapter without allowing parts of our former self to fall away. This is not punishment, it is a sacred exchange. The universe cannot place a new gift into hands that are already clenched around what is passing away. To open yourself to what is next, you must first release what has already served its purpose. Mystics have long understood this principle. In Sufi poetry, Rumi writes, "Try to accept the changing seasons of your heart, even if they bring sorrow. For perhaps the new season is opening space for joy you cannot yet imagine." In Hindu philosophy, this letting go is part of vairagya, the dispassion that frees the soul from clinging to impermanent things. And in nature, it is mirrored in the falling leaves of autumn, where the tree must empty itself to make room for the spring that is coming. But how do you recognize when you are in this test? Often, it shows up as a deep discomfort with something you used to love. The job that once felt like your dream begins to drain your spirit. The relationship that once fit like a glove now feels like a cage. Or perhaps you simply feel a pull, a whisper that says, "There is more for you than this." At first, you may ignore it. You may fight it, trying to hold on tighter, hoping the old joy returns. But the whisper does not go away. It grows louder. And eventually, circumstances begin to unravel. Opportunities close, people drift, doors that once swung open no longer respond. Life itself conspires to push you toward release. It is in this moment that the real test begins. Will you cling harder, or will you trust the tide? Letting go is rarely graceful. It often comes with tears, with grief, with the ache of loss. To let go is to confront the emptiness between what was and what will be. And that emptiness feels unbearable at times. Yet, it is in that emptiness that the seed of the breakthrough is planted. What most do not realize is that the act of letting go is itself a declaration of trust. It is saying to the universe, "I believe that even without this, I will still be whole. I believe that even though I cannot see what is next, I am willing to make space for it. I believe that life is not taking something from me without preparing to give me something more aligned." It is in this release that the soul stretches, that it proves to itself it is not defined by external things, that it learns to root its security in the eternal rather than the temporary. And once this lesson is learned, the breakthrough begins to stir. When you pass through this test, you look back one day and realize that what you thought would destroy you actually freed you. You see how tightly you were clinging to the old, and how much more space you now have for the new. You discover that letting go was not about losing, but about clearing. And what fills the space afterward is often more radiant, more aligned, and more expansive than you ever could have imagined. The truth is, every ending is a disguised beginning. Every loss is a hidden invitation. Every door that closes is the universe whispering, "This is not the house you were meant to live in." Keep walking. So if you are standing now with trembling hands, feeling the ache of something slipping away, take heart. You are not failing. You are passing through one of the deepest universal tests of all. Trust that what leaves your life was never meant to stay forever, and what comes next will be the gift you were always meant to hold. The test of faith, walking through the unknown. If stillness teaches patience, and letting go teaches release, the third universal test teaches the rarest of all qualities, faith. Faith is not simply belief. Belief is of the mind. It is holding an idea, a thought, a philosophy. But faith is deeper. Faith is the willingness to step into the unknown without proof, to trust in what cannot yet be seen, to walk forward when the path ahead disappears into mist. Every soul that stands on the threshold of a breakthrough must pass this test. For the breakthrough itself is never visible in advance. It does not arrive with clear maps or guarantees. It arrives like a doorway hidden in fog, and the only way to discover it is to walk toward it with trust. This is why life, before transformation, often arranges a season where clarity dissolves. Plans unravel, certainty fades, and the structures you leaned on begin to tremble. You look to the horizon and see no answers. You search within and find only questions. And in that place of disorientation, the universe whispers, "Will you trust me anyway?" This is the essence of the test of faith. It asks, will you walk forward without seeing the entire path? Will you lean on the invisible currents of spirit when your human logic finds no anchor? Will you allow mystery to guide you, even when it terrifies you? Faith is not blind, though. Faith is vision, but of a different kind. It is the vision of the heart, the knowing of the soul, the quiet conviction that something greater is holding you even when you cannot see it. To practice faith is to tune into this deeper sense of knowing and to move in harmony with it, even if your mind protests. Mystics and prophets across time have endured this same test. Abraham in the desert, asked to leave his homeland for a promise he could not yet see. The Buddha, stepping away from his palace into the unknown path of awakening. Countless seekers who abandoned the safety of the known to follow the whisper of their soul. Each walked without assurance, and each discovered that the invisible hands of spirit were guiding every step. The human mind craves certainty. It wants to know the outcome before it commits to the journey. But breakthroughs do not work this way. The universe withholds certainty because certainty would rob you of the transformation. To know the ending in advance would deny you the depth of faith. And so, the fog remains. The questions remain. The path remains veiled. And the only compass you are given is the quiet rhythm of your own soul, urging you forward. This test is rarely comfortable. It often comes with nights of doubt, days of confusion, moments where you fall to your knees and wonder if you've been abandoned. But the paradox of faith is this: it grows strongest in the absence of proof. Like a muscle, it strengthens by being stretched beyond its limit. To pass through this test is to surrender your demand for guarantees. It is to walk step by step, even when you cannot see the staircase. It is to whisper, "I do not know what comes next, but I trust that I am guided." And when you finally cross through, when the fog lifts and the path opens, you look back and realize something extraordinary. You were never walking alone. Every uncertain step was cradled. Every unanswered prayer was quietly being answered in ways you could not yet perceive. Every risk you took was supported by an unseen grace. This realization is what makes the test of faith so sacred. For once you have walked through the unknown and discovered that you were held all along, you carry a new kind of strength. A strength that no circumstance can take from you. You no longer need proof to trust. You no longer need guarantees to move forward. You have discovered the truth. That faith itself is the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the present and the breakthrough. And with that discovery, you are changed. The person who steps into the unknown is not the same as the one who emerges from it. You walk forward lighter, freer, more open, more radiant. You understand now that mystery is not something to fear, but something to welcome. For it is always in the mystery that the miracle is born. So if you find yourself standing in a fog, unsure of where the path leads, take heart. You are not lost. You are being tested, and the test is not meant to break you, but to reveal the faith that already lives within you. Step forward, and you will find that the path appears beneath your feet, one stone at a time. The test of shadow, facing what you fear most. Every breakthrough requires light, but before the light can be fully received, the shadows must be faced. This is the fourth universal test, and it is among the most difficult, the test of shadow. This test does not arrive with gentle whispers or subtle nudges. It arrives like a mirror, forcing you to confront the very things you have avoided, denied, or buried within yourself. Old wounds rise to the surface. Past mistakes replay in your mind. Fears you thought you had escaped return with new intensity. It feels as if life itself conspires to hold you face to face with everything you would rather turn away from. Why does this test appear before a breakthrough? Because no soul can expand into new levels of light while still being chained by unexamined shadows. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of you that longs to be acknowledged, healed, and integrated. Until it is faced, it whispers in the background, sabotaging your growth. But once embraced, it transforms into strength. The test of shadow comes in many forms. Sometimes it is external. An old pattern repeating in your relationships, a conflict that exposes your deepest insecurities, a situation that triggers buried pain. Other times it is internal. Sudden waves of self-doubt, anger, grief, or fear rising from places you thought were long healed. Either way, the message is the same. Look here. Do not turn away. What you resist will persist. What you face will free you. Mystics and healers have always known this truth. In Jungian psychology, this is the shadow work, the process of bringing unconscious material into consciousness so it no longer controls you. In shamanic traditions, it is the descent into the underworld, meeting the darker spirits and returning with wisdom. In the hero's journey, it is the confrontation with the dragon, the monster, the guardian at the threshold. No one reaches the treasure without facing the beast. It is tempting to believe that spirituality is only about light, love, and positivity. But the deeper path teaches something greater. That true light includes the shadow, and true love extends even to the parts of yourself you once rejected. The shadow test arrives to strip away illusions, to show you that your power lies not in avoiding your fears, but in facing them. How do you pass through this test? Not by fighting the shadow, but by embracing it. When fear arises, breathe into it rather than running away. When old pain surfaces, sit with it, honor it, and ask what it has to teach you. When you see patterns repeating, recognize them as invitations to heal what was never healed before. The shadow loses its power not when you defeat it, but when you welcome it into the circle of your wholeness. This does not mean indulging the shadow or letting it rule you. It means seeing it clearly, with compassion. It means remembering that fear is often the wounded child within you, asking for safety. Anger is often the voice of boundaries long ignored. Shame is often the scar left by someone else's cruelty. By bringing these hidden parts into the light of your awareness, you reclaim their energy, transforming what was once a weight into wisdom. And then, something miraculous happens. The very thing you feared most becomes the gateway to your strength. The wound becomes the womb of compassion. The darkness becomes the soil where your greatest gifts take root. You realize that the shadow was never an obstacle to your breakthrough, it was the key. It was the teacher that prepared you to step fully into your power. When you emerge from the test of shadow, you are no longer haunted by what lies behind you. You carry it, yes, but as wisdom, not as chains. You are freer, lighter, more whole. And because of this, the breakthrough you are stepping into is not built on denial, but on truth. It is not fragile, but unshakable, because it includes all of you, both the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, the past and the present. The shadow test is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to liberate you. For only when you have faced your deepest fears do you discover your deepest courage. And it is that courage, not perfection, that carries you across the threshold into your new life. So if you find yourself right now confronted by old wounds, repeating patterns, or fears that rise like storms, know this. You are in the heart of the test. Do not run. Do not despair. Face the shadow with compassion, and you will find that behind the mask of fear, your own strength has been waiting all along. The test of temptation, choosing the soul over the distraction. If you have endured stillness, if you have released what no longer serves you, if you have walked by faith through the unknown and faced your shadow, then you are standing close to the threshold. And here, another test appears, subtle, glittering, and dangerous, the test of temptation. This test is unlike the others because it does not come in the form of emptiness, or pain, or darkness. It comes dressed as beauty. It comes cloaked as opportunity. It arrives not as a threat, but as an offer. And yet, it is just as potent a challenge as any shadow you have faced. Temptation, before a breakthrough, is the universe's way of asking, will you settle for less than what you are truly meant for? Will you take the easier path, or will you wait for the one that is aligned with your soul? Often, just before the real door opens, a false door appears. It looks appealing. It seems safe. It promises comfort, recognition, success, even love. But something about it is off. It is slightly smaller than the truth of your destiny, slightly dimmer than the light of your calling. If you accept it, you may find yourself trapped once again in a cycle of compromise. This is why the test of temptation is so difficult, because it does not look like a test at all. It looks like the very thing you've been waiting for. You see it in relationships. Just as your soul is preparing for the love that truly matches your spirit, an old flame reappears, or a new connection emerges that is almost right, but not quite. It would be easier to stay, easier to accept, but deep down you know it would mean shrinking. You see it in your work. Just as you are about to step into your true purpose, an offer comes, good pay, security, a role that looks shiny on the surface. But beneath it, you feel the quiet pull of compromise, the cost of burying your deeper calling. You see it in the inner world too. The temptation to stay in old habits, old patterns, old identities, because they are comfortable, even if they are not liberating. In every case, the question is the same. Will you choose the glitter of distraction, or the gold of your soul? Mystics and sages have warned of this test for centuries. In Christian scripture, even Christ faces it. Tempted in the wilderness with food, power, and safety, each one a symbol of settling for less than his true mission. In Buddhist texts, Mara, the Lord of Illusion, appears under the Bodhi tree to tempt the Buddha with pleasures and doubts, just before enlightenment. In myth and legend, heroes are always offered false treasures before they reach the real one. This is not coincidence. It is the universal rhythm of transformation. Why does the universe allow this test? Because a breakthrough requires clarity of choice. Your soul must decide what it truly values. The false door must be recognized and declined, so that when the true door opens, you walk through it with full awareness. Passing this test is not about rejecting beauty or abundance, for those are part of your destiny. It is about discerning the difference between what flatters the ego and what fulfills the soul. It is about listening deeply to the quiet resonance within you, the unmistakable knowing that says, "This is mine," or "This is not mine." To pass, you must cultivate the courage to wait, to let the lesser offers fall away, even when they glitter. To trust that saying no to what is almost right will create space for what is entirely right. And when you do, something remarkable happens. The false doors close, the distractions fade, and in their absence, the real doorway emerges, luminous, undeniable, aligned not with your fear but with your highest self. Looking back, you realize that the temptation was never meant to harm you. It was meant to sharpen your vision, to teach you to trust the inner compass of your soul. It was the universe's way of ensuring that when the true blessing arrives, you recognize it without hesitation. The test of temptation reminds us of a profound truth. Not everything that glitters is gold. The world will always offer substitutes, shortcuts, distractions. But the soul knows its true treasure. And once you choose that treasure over all else, your breakthrough cannot be delayed. So if you are standing today before doors that look shiny but do not feel aligned, take a breath. Listen inwardly, do not rush, for beyond the false door lies the true one. And when you choose soul over distraction, the path ahead opens into radiance. The sixth and final test is about becoming who you must be to receive what you've asked for. Every soul cries out for change. Every heart prays for transformation. We ask the universe for love, for abundance, for purpose, for awakening. And yet, the final test before a true breakthrough is this. Are you ready to live in alignment with the very thing you seek? The truth is simple but profound. You cannot enter the next chapter as the same self who lived in the last. A breakthrough is not just about receiving something new. It is about becoming someone new. And so the universe, in its infinite wisdom, places before you the test of alignment. This test does not come as silence, as loss, as fear, or as temptation. It comes as a mirror. Life reflects back to you the question. Do your thoughts, your choices, your habits, your energy truly match the reality you are asking for? If you are asking for freedom, but still choose the patterns of bondage, the door does not open. If you are asking for love, but still live in self-abandonment, the door does not open. If you are asking for abundance, but still cling to the vibration of scarcity, the door does not open. Not because the universe is cruel, but because it is precise. A breakthrough is not an accident. It is resonance. It arrives only when who you are within harmonizes with what you desire without. This is why so many come close to transformation and then retreat. They ask for the new life but resist becoming the new self. They want the fruit without the roots, the harvest without the labor, the light without the fire. But alignment cannot be faked. It must be lived. The test of alignment asks you to embody the frequency of your future before it arrives. To make choices as if you are already the person you long to be. To walk with integrity, to honor your soul, to shed the masks and identities that once kept you safe but now keep you small. It is not easy. At times it feels like a death. The death of old habits. The death of excuses. The death of identities built on fear. But in that death lies rebirth. You discover that every time you choose alignment over avoidance, you are weaving yourself into the very fabric of the life you prayed for. Mystics have always known this. In ancient initiation schools, the student was not handed wisdom simply for asking. They were required to live it, to embody it, to transform themselves until they resonated with the mysteries they sought. In modern language, this is the law of vibration. Like attracts like. To step into the new, you must become the new. How does the universe test this? Subtly, in the choices of your daily life. It will place you in situations that ask, will you act from your old wounds, or from your healed self? Will you shrink back into fear, or will you embody courage? Will you betray your intuition again, or will you finally honor it? Each choice is a thread. Woven together, they form the frequency of your future. When you pass this test, you feel it. A shift happens within you. Life no longer feels like something you are chasing. Instead, it begins to mirror the alignment you are carrying inside. Opportunities arrive not by force, but by resonance. Relationships reflect your worth. Synchronicities flow like a river. And then, often suddenly, the breakthrough manifests, not as something you grabbed, but as something you magnetized. This is the secret. Breakthroughs are not granted. They are matched. They come to the soul that has become their equal. And so the test of alignment is the final gate. It asks not what you want, but who you are willing to become. For in truth, the two are inseparable. Your life can only ever mirror your state of being. And when your being rises into alignment with the life you seek, no force in heaven or earth can hold it back from you. If you are walking through this test now, know this: the breakthrough is close. You are not being denied. You are being shaped. You are being refined into the version of yourself who can stand fully in the light that is coming. When the test of alignment is passed, you emerge not as a seeker, but as a keeper of the life you once dreamed of. And you understand, at last, that the breakthrough was never waiting somewhere outside of you. It was always waiting within you, for you to become the one who could receive it.